What's up, everybody? As always, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to ContractFortune.com. The Spanish version of the webinar is now available. So like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and subscribe to ContractFortune.com. That way you can be made aware of any online events, regular events, and any educational opportunities that are going to be made available to you. And the Spanish webinar is available now. So with that said, let's kind of get into it. This is what I want to talk about. Like, normally I try to talk uplifting, and I'm not going to change my tone, in terms of, trying to give motivation to persevere and get through the situation. But I want to talk with a little bit more of a sense of urgency. We're going into the end of week 2 of this thing with everything being shut down. Folks are out of work. I think they're trying to get the stimulus bill passed. At the time of this video, they were trying to get the stimulus bill passed. I know they were still hammering out some things. But listen, I grew up in poverty, right? Let me take you down a little history lesson real quick. I grew up in poverty. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. My neighborhood was during the 80s, 90s, we were a very tight community. I love my home. I love where I came from. It made me into the man that I am today in terms of everything that I practice and everything that I know. The thing that I'll tell you is this, that we learned early, is that there is no one coming to rescue you personally. And you're going to have to be the one to grab your family, get everybody going, and move forward financially. They're going to pass the stimulus package. Let me ask you a question, and I know you can't answer back, but just think about this. How long do you think it's sustainable to give everyone unemployment, or to keep giving everyone $1,200 and $500 per child, or whatever the bill may be? It's not sustainable. Now, I'm not a financial guru. I've made a little bit of money in my time. I've been able to take a few chances business-wise and make some things happen. And I've been very, very successful and blessed to have those opportunities given to me. But that was through things that I was interested in business-wise, things that motivated me to want to, aspire to something else. And those were things that were in me. I never waited for someone to give it to me. And everybody out there, I think most folks, I'm going to say globally, most folks don't want people to give them things. They want to be able to work, earn what they earn, and get paid for that job. But I've talked to several of my financial, partners, dudes that really know this financial stuff real heavy, stock market, all that stuff. Excuse me. If there's no commerce, if the economy is not functioning, if people aren't spending money, if people aren't going out, if people aren't going to the bars, not going to the restaurants, they're not doing the things that we normally do to keep the economy functioning, then all this money did was just get into everybody's pockets and make them feel better. Now, I don't want to take away from the feel better feeling. If that check and seeing that check brings you some sense of tranquility, or it takes a little bit of the stress off, then I welcome that. I don't want folks to be out here operating just under relentless stress. You've been home for going on 2 weeks now with your kids, and they're talking about this thing. I don't know if you've been watching some of the press conferences with some of the governors and other experts, but they're saying at a minimum we're going to be dealing with this another 4 weeks, right? At maximum we could be dealing with this another 8 to 7 months. So what happens then? The moves you make now are going to dictate what the outcome is then. Let me go a little bit deeper with that. Normally they say make a 5-year plan. That's what I've heard my entire life. Make a 5-year plan. Where do you want to be in 5 years? That's what people say. And me, to my fault, I've always wanted. I come from that microwave generation where I want gratification like that. And, I'm willing to wait a year, maybe 2 years max, and I want some results. But they used to say 5 years. Okay, I'm digressing. But with what's going on, you only got about today, tomorrow to make a plan And then you need to be executing that plan within the next 5 weeks. That plan needs to be in motion. So when you get to that fifth week, the plan's already moving, and you have opportunities and things generating for you. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to go out and be a government contractor. However, I will say that solicitations are falling left and right. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. And I want to allow these deals to come to fruition, because there's a lot of steps in between, the initial step and then the path to glory. But because of the life that I've chosen, the livelihood that I've chosen, I'm looking like things might really be lucrative coming out of this thing. But again, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I want to let everything, because deals come together and fall apart, and anybody that does brokering and sales knows that. So, but when they do go through, I'll talk about them. But there are a lot of solicitations available right now. And again, I'm not saying everybody should be a government contractor, but you're missing out on the opportunity to make thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, because the government is in need, and a humongous need of services, all types of services. And the way we live life now is not how we're going to live life 5 weeks from now, a month from now, 2 months from now. What you saw, and this is the reality of it, just period. What you had going into this is not what you're going to have coming out of it. And that's the truth. That's just the truth. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that part of it. I'm not going to try to make you feel good about that part of it. It's going to be a different world when this is over, economically. We're going to make it out of it because, number one, the numbers are on our side. Number two, we have so many smart, motivated, and ambitious and driven people in our society that we're going to make it out of it. There are a lot of good folks in this society who want to see people do well, who want to see people survive and thrive. So we're going to make it out of it. I don't stress that part at all. But the ability to adapt and evolve is going to be critical. And the moves that you make right now are what is going to determine what happens to you in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Normally, in normal life, you make a plan, you start getting the plan going, 6 months, a year, and your plan starts to make, fruits start to grow, the garden starts to grow. This is different. This is different because of how fast things are moving and transitioning. We are going to see people go from one economic class to either a higher one or a lower one, depending on the decisions they make work-wise. And, I look at the videos. I look at, the stuff that I'm talking about. I look at the amount of people that are watching. I haven't, the traffic is building, but it's not building as fast as I want it to. But if you can hear my voice and you're listening to my voice, then I'm trying to tell you now is the time to make your plan. Now is the time to start making it happen. I told you last week, in that first week, you should have started. But, people have a delayed switch on everything. And 1 week is like, whatever, I'll listen to it next week. We're going into the second week. And you can already start to see the stress, the irritableness of people because of what's happening around them. The kids have had them home for, the last 2 weeks. Thank God, I think a lot of schools are getting ready to, do the tablet and laptop thing so they can teach online at home, which is cool. I think that's a good thing because the educational gap would be crazy if these kids were not in school for the next, several months. I'm hoping that, most parents, I think that and I have faith that most of the parents out here are good examples to their children and are, helping them to move forward knowledge-wise. Because I tell you this too, knowledge is going to be the new currency. Knowledge is going to be the new currency. The more you know, the more you will be able to survive in this society. And that's the truth. I don't want to make the video too long. I just really wanted to discuss the fact that, I'm optimistic, very optimistic. Again, I'm not going to preach fear and be scared and go hide under the, go put a tinfoil hat on. I'm not going to preach that. But the thing I will say is you got to have a sense of urgency. And if you going into next week and the week after and you haven't formulated a plan yet, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. But you need to formulate a plan. That's the biggest thing. And I think, the next few videos that I do is going to keep harping on that, because the part that gives me fear, I'm going to tell you what scares me, is going into week 5 and 6 and people haven't made a plan and the desperation that will start to occur. That's what scares me. I like evolution when it comes to life. I like to see the world change. I don't like people losing their loved ones. I think this part is going to be really sad. I hope everyone is taking heed to what, all the doctors and professionals have said to giving up, press conferences about and things like that. I think it's been the response I saw. I'll put it like this: the response I saw from FEMA in Puerto Rico versus the response I see from FEMA on this one is a lot different. And I don't say that in a good way. The states have really been, in charge of what's going on, which is something different. I thought that the government might have a little bit more control of what was going on. But, the states are doing a really good job. You got some governors out here who are really on their job. And, keep your ear tuned in to the latest. Make sure you're getting good, credible knowledge. That's the other thing. Don't just listen to somebody spouting off a conspiracy theory to you. Like I told you in another video, I got tons of conspiracy theory homeboys. I got tons of conspiracy theory buddies who just spin up all types of stuff. Don't listen to that. Don't listen to that. Listen to the people who are paid to do the job. Whether you're listening to somebody on the right or listening to somebody on the left, or you're just listening to somebody who made a living out of helping people, listen to people who have credible knowledge. Don't just listen to conspiracy theories. You see the National Guard out here, right? Number one, who knows what their what their prime directive is? I don't know. I'm not, I wasn't in the briefing. But what I will say is this. There are a lot of pop-up hospitals that need to occur over the next several weeks. This thing is really it's very contagious, as everybody knows, all the same facts that you guys know. But if you're watching it bounce person to person to person, right? This is my personal opinion. If you're watching it bounce person to person to person, how long do you think it'll take before it gets to somebody that you know? And that's the part where I hope everybody is taking heed, making sure that they're following all the procedures and safety measures and doing what's needed to be done in order to stay safe. And just make a plan. That's the biggest thing I can tell you. Make a plan. Make a plan. Make a plan. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to ContractFortune.com. Find out all the educational opportunities that are available to you. The Spanish webinar is done. I'm so excited about that. I don't speak a lick of Spanish, but I'm getting ready to listen to it just to make sure, just to hear just to listen to it. And I hope everybody's having a safe day, and keep your family safe and stay safe. Talk to you later.